Welcome back to the Andrew and Ian Show. I'm Andrew Serwick here again with Ian. Hi, Ian. Not a whole lot to talk about today, but we're gonna get into a couple things. But first of all, how you doing this evening, man?
Can't really complain, you know. Vacation's gonna wrap up here in a little bit, but yeah, it's nice to get out and still continue to do this. So yeah, like I said, not much to talk about, so let's get it rolling.
Yeah, let's get right into it here, and we're gonna start off with some college football here. We got Week 0 kicking off tomorrow night, actually. We have a bunch of games tomorrow night. Um, Actually, no. Hold on. What am I looking at? I don't want the top 25. I want all FBS. Anyway, so yeah, Saturday we have a whole bunch of games kicking off, um, and we got four games. We're only gonna talk about one of them because the rest are fucking useless. So let's just get right into it here. It's gonna be this game is in Dublin. It's number 10 Florida State taking on Georgia Tech. Florida State favored by 10.5 in this game. Um, Obviously, I'm going to pick Florida State to win this game. I mean, they're just an all-around better team than Georgia Tech, and we talked about this in the ACC preview um, episode as well. This team has a chip on their shoulder from last year. With not being in the playoffs. And while I do agree it was the right call, technically speaking, because Florida State, that team last year would have been absolutely destroyed by any of those three teams. Texas, and Michigan, and whatnot, and Washington even. But Florida State, they have that chip on their shoulders still that they want to prove it, and now they have a chance to actually make the playoffs because it is a 12-team playoff here. Um, I think Georgia Tech might put up a decent fight in this game just because they always seem to play in conference pretty damn hard. But overall, they're just not a good team here. I'm gonna take Florida State and they will cover that 10.5, no problem.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on Florida State and covering, but yeah, I will give Georgia Tech their flowers. They, like you said, they do tend to play up in conference play, but Florida State is, like we did acknowledge, they're a different animal right now. They want to be in the playoffs. They wanted to prove who they were last year. They didn't get that chance. Now's their chance to do it in the international stage over there in Ireland.
Yeah, and the thing is that the total is 55.5, according to ESPN here, and we see this with the NFL too. Is that the offenses especially just don't really click when they travel overseas, and I feel like that might be an issue here. Now, granted, it is week 1 for these teams, so it might be a little different than traveling in week 4, week 5 of the season compared to the NFL, but. I feel like it's gonna be a lower scoring game just because of the fact that these teams are traveling to a different country, to a completely different time zone than what these teams would normally go to. So I feel like that total might not hit at 55.5 just because of that. But I just want to talk about this week 0 thing real quick here, and why it bothers me that we even bother trying to do this, because it is quite useless if you're going to try and make this week 0 thing a thing like these TV companies are really trying to do, but they refuse to actually put the games or put useful games that people actually want to watch on that schedule on that Saturday for week 0. I mean, Florida State and Georgia Tech is the only somewhat interesting matchup, and that's only because it's Florida State. If Florida State wasn't ranked, I don't think we'd be even previewing any of the games this week, because the rest are, you got New Mexico and Montana State, a group of 5 and an FCS school facing off. No one really cares. And then you have Nevada and SMU, same fucking thing, just two group of 5 schools facing off, and then Hawaii and Delaware State. So you have another, group of 5 school and a FCS school. So it's like, why are we doing this? Why are we trying to push for this week 0 stuff when you're not even going to put some sort of a actual watchable game on the TV? Like it just doesn't make any sense to me why these companies are really pushing these schools to have or pushing this idea to have a week zero sort of deal for college football, but then you don't put any meaningful games on. You don't put any good teams that people actually watch. Because I mean, I don't know anyone that watches New Mexico or Hawaii football unless they're playing, an actual legitimate team like a Florida State. It just doesn't make sense to me why they do this, why they have this sort of a schedule when we could just simply have week one be week one like it is for everyone else. It's shit. No one really cares because it's all these big schools beating up on the little schools. So if you really want to have this week zero thing be a thing, make the games actually worth watching.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point because, I mean, having two of those games being, I mean, even group of five schools playing, they're playing down to FCS schools, which, it's still a program. It's obviously a different level, which is why they have that different classification. Now, if you had, say, a lesser power, or what is it? Or you had like an ACC team play like a Big Ten team, or you had an SEC team play or a Pac-2 team or a Big 12 team. That would be more meaningful than, those other matchups where you have, like I said, group of five and an FCS. I mean, group of five playing group of five is it playoff potential? Maybe because it's been extended to 12 teams. But I don't know
Well,
if any of those teams are even going to scratch.
the best group of five school, according to the playoff committee, is a guaranteed spot in the playoffs anyways. So, but when you're playing FCS schools, still it doesn't really matter. I mean, the only two FBS teams playing against each other here that aren't ACC schools, SMU and Nevada, and even that game is just ridiculous. And I just like let me give you an example of just how stupid this is. Hawaii is favored by 40.5 points over Delaware State. 40.5 points.
And that's not just because Hawaii's that good. It's just because of its skill difference.
Right, you're asking a not good at all FCS team to play against a mid-level group of five FBS team. Like that what are we doing here? What are we actually doing here with these games on this week zero shit? It just doesn't make any sense to me to have any of these games be on what Fox want and ESPN want as a week zero schedule. Like what? It just doesn't make sense to have any games that nobody's gonna be watching. I mean, who the fuck wants to watch Hawaii beat up on Delaware State? I mean, no one even watches Hawaii football, let alone wanting to watch them beat up on some unknown school that nobody goes to. It's just stupid to me, this week zero thing. So if they want it, make it actually worth watching. I mean, people are gonna watch just because it's college football and it's football. It's meaningful football, at least for Florida State it is, anyways. But yeah, just it makes no fucking sense, this whole week zero shit. But let's move on. We got some suspensions here to discuss, so I'm gonna let you take it away with that.
Yeah, so shockingly, another Big Ten team is getting caught, and at this time it's Iowa. Their head coach Kirk Ferentz and their wide receiver coach John Budemeyer are both suspended for one game for their season opener for a recruiting violation.
Ah, interesting. They couldn't hand them out sooner for Jim Harbaugh?
I mean, I guess not, but here we are, yet another Big Ten team getting caught with another recruiting violation.
I'm a Michigan fan, and obviously you know that. But Jim Harbaugh is a piece of shit for all the shit that he did. In terms of lying to the NCAA, and I mean I don't blame him for lying to the NCAA because those crooks deserve that in a way. But a lot of this could have been blown over with Michigan, if he. But besides the point, they took forever to fucking hand down penalties for him. But then they immediately jumped on penalties for these two coaches for Iowa. It kind of raises a double standard question, kind of there.
Yeah, a little bit, and it's kind of ironic because the player that the violation is over is former Michigan QB Caden McNamara. So it just adds even more to it.
Ha! Goofy. Goofy. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Um, no,
Gotta love it.
so it's recruiting violations. But he
Yeah,
transferred there. So how did they? How's that a recruiting violation if he transferred there? That's what I'm confused about now because yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I don't know. Let's find out.
Maybe if I mean if they tampered
It's
before the portal
gotta
was
be like a
open sort of
technicality
deal.
they got him on.
It must have been like something like with the portal not being open yet, and they were already trying to recruit him to them. I don't know. That's just very weird though. Regardless, but yeah, very interesting. What happened there? But yeah, let's find the details to see exactly what happened.
So as they, like I said, both Kirk Ferentz and the assistant coach will be suspended for the Hawkeyes opener against Illinois State over a violation while recruiting Cade McNamara, according to multiple media outlets. Da-da. It's unclear whether the NCAA or Iowa imposed the suspensions, and that is about it. They don't go into further detail of what exactly they did.
Huh. Interesting. Sounds like it might be more of a Iowa imposed suspension then, if anything. Um, but yeah, very weird regardless. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that's really about it. I mean, there's not a whole lot in the world of sports to talk about. This last week of preseason football's coming up, and obviously we have this stupid ass week 0 shit for college football. But um, yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us then. Guys, rate, review, subscribe, help us out. Let us know what you guys want to see. Of course, keep sharing the podcast. Check out the YouTube page, of course. Yeah, thank you guys again so much for listening, and we will see you guys on Tuesday.